Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Tier 7 Italian destroyer Luca Tarigo. We are on the map Two Brothers, and I've enjoyed my time trying to understand these guys. I really feel pretty good now about how to play them, both in rank, random, and all levels of game in between. For the build on the ship, I'm using Main Armament Mod 1, Extended Duration Speed Boost, Aiming System Mod 1, Propulsion System Mod 1. For the Commander, Incoming Fire Alert, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Concealment, Radiolocation, Extended Main Battery Range, and Adrenaline Rush. That is a 21-point commander. In Early Access, you do not need to assign a commander to it, so I'm just merely using my Legendary Commander, or another 21-point Italian commander that I might have. Obviously, that's a lot of skill points. Do you need a commander with a lot of skill points? Yeah, that's one of the weaknesses of the line. I do think you need a commander with a lot of skill points, because you pretty much need concealment. You pretty much need gun range. And honestly, that's at least 14 points. That's not a low skill commander. So if you're going to make that kind of investment, you might consider making a bigger investment. But overall, the line itself is very interesting and fascinating, and it becomes really effective as the line matures. But early on in the line, it is difficult to play. It lacks gun range, it lacks torpedo range, it lacks consumable charges. It lacks pretty much everything that the mid to higher tier playstyle adopts. But that doesn't mean that the line can't be fun, and we're going to take a look at this Tier 7. Now, a couple things of note while we're firing on this broadside cruiser. Gun range is really good against cruisers. If you don't invest in gun range, cruisers will eat you for breakfast. You just don't have the ability to active dodge at the ranges that the base gun range exists at. So, as you're leveling up, you have to decide for yourself whether you want to invest first in the gun range or first in the hull. Now, obviously, the hull continues on to the next tier, so you could conceivably bypass half of the upgrades. But getting gun range really enables easier and better play overall in the Italians. You'll notice that there's 3 exhaust smoke charges. We started out with 6 emergency engine boost charges. Now, in this battle, I did make use of the instant activation. As I've played the game and played more in rank battle with the Tier 10, I've noticed that I can't afford to activate it so soon because the cooldown on the speed boost is way too long and it won't actually affect the very first engagement. It's a really important tool to create some active maneuvering and dodging. If you don't have that, the Italians are a little sluggish when it comes to the deacceleration, and that's really easy to shoot at. So, one of the things that I would maybe correct based on the start of this match is, and it didn't ultimately affect us, but I have been in games where it does affect you. Don't necessarily immediately activate the emergency engine boost. The emergency engine boost is a tool for when you have to fire on a target and you cannot conceal your location. The next best thing that you can hope to have is better engine response, so that when the target is firing at you, you can play with your throttle back and forth and cause the overshoot or the undershoot or whatever you want to, cause the ship to do. It's a really great defensive tool. It's not the best offensive tool, and quite honestly, the ships move so fast base, it's not really needed. And in a game with standard battle, I mean, there's basically charging into nothing. So that's the one thing that I would say, hey, maybe consider saving it for an aggressive play like this, where we can maneuver into a position where we can, affect the match. It's much better to do that with the close proximity of the opponent and get that extra benefit of players firing on you, much in the same way as the French DD line really appreciates it when players fire at them, because they can provide sort of a dodge tank effect. That's what the emergency engine power consumable enables, but it only enables that when it's active. When it's not active, The line has probably one of the worst accelerations I've seen in a DD line in the game. And it's really difficult to be in the open and not have any defensive consumables whatsoever. So we decided to push really far forward. We can do that because we have exhaust smoke. As long as we are within, 3.5 to 4 kilometers of the nearest opponent, we can safely activate exhaust smoke and drop off detection. Now, I was trying to get a fire on this target, and I was hoping that we could get a fire. Probably should have just fired SAP at that situation, because he was broadside. SAP against a cruiser is the best ammo type to fire on a broadside. But now that he's angled, high explosive is the right one. So, we're doing pretty good so far. We're on the western flank, and we're dictating the pace. One of the great things about this line is they definitely dictate the pace of the game, unless there is a radar or hydroacoustic counter, because you instantly stealth yourself with exhaust smoke. That is so powerful. That makes everyone have to respect you, and it also creates this moment where players are looking to pounce on you when your exhaust smoke runs out, because it is a short duration smoke. It's way too powerful to be a smoke firing mechanic all the time. You will just have to be seen in the Italians. But, with good consumable usage, a little bit more efficient usage than what I've used in this game, that's not really a big deal. So, we're contributing against this Prince Heinrich. There's also another cruiser and a DD that have all left the flank. As successful as we are on this flank, half my team's dying, and this guy's getting away from me. And I don't want him to get away from me. I would like him to just go down. And yes, he does end up going down. Enemy DD shows himself, but because of the lack of gun range, we actually drop off pretty quickly into this enemy Fiji. Now, our torpedoes aren't fast. I have played a torpedo-focused build. I have played it in rank with a tier 10. I've played it at this tier with this tier. I personally feel that the torpedoes are not fast enough to be consistent enough. They are very much a tool to screen a location and deny the area. They're great for predicted locations that a player might sit bow in or sit stationary or against an island, but they're horrible when the player has plenty of time to change their maneuvering position. And I was taking a look at my radio location. It seems that the Fiji, instead of going forward, actually backed up. One of the reasons why I like radio location while we're looking for another target. There's no surprises. I know where the closest target is, or at least there shouldn't be any surprises. And that's empowering. I can tell that to my team. Other players, maybe Maltese Knight, you might have seen him. He uses a similar build to me, but he subs out radio location in favor of main battery rate of fire and preventive maintenance. I think that's a pretty good build as well. I did notice one thing, though, about the line itself. The propulsion and the steering get knocked out increasingly easy. They just want to break every single second. And it's frustrating because that's your best tool for maneuvering, and when you're at a reduced engine performance, well, you can imagine that you're a sitting duck. So I wasn't really impressed with the engine and the steering's ability to stay up. I actually tried all in on a anti-incapacitation build. Did nothing to fix the problem. In fact, it made me feel like I made the wrong choice, because I did. It wasn't giving me my, overwhelming advantage. It was actually taking away gun range or gun rate of fire or, any number of things. So I just ended up just foregoing it. You got smoke. You can use your damage control party. I think they end up working out better, and they are more valuable than a build that would supposedly protect the systems from incapacitation. It just doesn't work that well. Now we got this enemy DD along with an enemy Pan-Asian light cruiser, which we are very strong against both of them. With our SAP, we just need to be careful. Now in this situation, obviously they wanted to fire on us. I wanted to hold until we knew for a fact that that DD was not going to drop off detection. And we were successful in that. And we were able to instantly drop from this enemy Pan-Asian light, which Pan-Asian lights are pretty scary. But my sap's pretty scary to it. Now if I didn't have the gun range, I would have to get right up on top of him and try and shoot him in the face. And of course that's possible, but you're in smoke, it's not very long, you kind of have to go in and out, ends up being inefficient. If there's anyone who happens to be behind you, a lot of times they love line of sighting behind the smoke because they aren't even seen. So in an attempt to be aggressive, I found that a lot of my teammates did everything in their power to limit the vision that they actually gain during that. So I can't stress this enough. Go main battery gun range if you want any chance at all of the matchups. If you want to make it the hardest possible, well, don't extend the gun range and just try and use your sap at point blank range. You'll run out of charges fast, and it'll feel pretty helpless. Oh man, and this is kind of helpless. We don't have a consumable. We are very close. Again, this is an issue with the mid-tier. It doesn't really go away because there's just not an adequate amount of buffs for you, so you just end up fighting a really difficult battle. And I just want to kill this guy. Oh, he puts a fire on us. We have to put the fire out because the tick's just going to kill us. We actually take him out, and of course, the last shell that makes contact sets us on fire and we burn down and die. Hey, you know, that's just how it goes when you're trying to play aggressive, and I'm not going to apologize for playing aggressive. I love it. And the Italian DDs work very well, especially the high tier, once you understand where you can take and where you need to play a little bit more defensive. If you enjoyed seeing this game, please like the video. Obviously, I make YouTube content about World of Warships. I also stream at twitch.tv/Notser on a weekly basis. We cover the game, we cover new release. I try and figure out the best optimal build for my playstyle and share that with all of you. Thank you so much for enjoying the video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.